I walked into the dental surgery office and went up to the front desk to check in, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, do you have an appointment?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I do. Is this not the dental surgery place?" And they said, "Yeah, we do that." They said, "We don't have an appointment for you. That particular oral surgeon called out all week and someone should have canceled with you." And I said, "Well, they didn't. I got a confirmation all the way up till yesterday." And they said, "Yeah, well, that surgeon is out today, so, we can't help you. We're going to have to reschedule you." The one person that was assisting me was about to schedule me for 2 to 3 weeks from now at the end of the month. And the other office woman shot her a side-eye glance and said, "Don't schedule it this month. We don't know if the surgeon's going to be here then. Schedule it next month." So my appointment maker scheduled me for next month towards the end. And the look that those two women exchanged in the office set off an alarm in my head. And I thought, oh my God, this place is owned by a hedge fund. I made a previous video stemming from my last visit to the dental office in which the office workers were welfare shaming clients on the phone. I had noticed that there was signs on the door and on the front desk about how they don't accept Medicaid, Medicare, and if you have these certain policies that you'll have to pay cash. So I already knew there was a problem with this particular dentist, even though I've been going there for 14 years, but I barely ever had any problems. It's just dental cleaning. And also another aspect was that my dental hygienist has been working with me for 14 years. So that provided me with a sense of stability at this particular place. But I knew it was a chain, and I know that's bad. I never cared to look into it. So this time I was like, okay, things are not good at this particular chain dental office. I'm gonna look it up. And indeed, I just type in the name Aspen Dental and the terms lawsuit comes up. So I see that the dental service chain has settled numerous lawsuits, including one involving the death of a patient in 2023. I mean, not to laugh at a death, but it's just, laughing in sociological horror that this makes sense that this type of chain dental office has this type of negligence. There was also lawsuits about deceptive advertising, so the ways in which they're trying to lure people into their office. There's even a Facebook page called Stop Aspen Dental with 18,000 members of people who are very unhappy with their engagement with Aspen Dental. They say that they've been overcharged, received bad care, or were removed as a patient for unknown reasons. Other news stories were interesting because it seems like this particular dental chain was specifically targeting low-income people who don't regularly receive dental treatment because they don't have dental insurance, obviously. And this is an area where the government is not forced to provide dental insurance even for people who receive social benefits. And so they prey on people who are low income, who haven't received a lot of dental care. They get them into the office. They quote them a bunch of procedures to do, and they might even set them up with a particular credit card or try to get them to pay it on their credit cards and stuff like that. So folks end up with thousands of dollars in dental bills, and then this might be for procedures which were upsold and so on. The articles also talked about how the dentists and the workers at Aspen Dental were pressured to upsell and to try to make more profits for the company. I did find an article that said Aspen Dental is a chain of nearly 350 offices in 22 states managed by a company owned by a private equity firm. It is part of a fast-growing industry of corporate dental practices, many of which specialize in serving people who cannot afford to go to the dentist, a group many dentists ignore. So you have traditional dentists that are running their offices and they go after traditional patients with dental insurance and so on. So this is even a predatory dental chain that specifically targets low-income people and to get them in to quote them all kinds of services that they may or may not need. I mean, surely they also need a lot of services, but it indebts them. There was even a ransomware attack in which Aspen Dental was hit, and they lost a lot of confidential information about their clients. There was a Reddit forum about former workers talking about crying during their breaks and all the pressure tactics that they felt in order to increase the bottom line, which was a discussion and a pressure within that industry. So why is being owned by a hedge fund a bad thing? As we can see within sociology and all kinds of social problems, the issue is this turn towards financialization of our basic social services in society, consumer-based services that are now being bought up by hedge funds and equity firms, and of course their only goal is to increase the profit margin for their investors. And so it's definitely not to provide quality service to their clients, and not even to treat their workers well, even when their workers are dentists. And so that's why it was a red sign to me, is because if an oral surgeon is just calling out for a week and so crazy that they want to quit within the month, then that shows that this is a toxic work environment. And what creates more toxic work environments than hedge funds squeezing all of their workers? That means providing less resources to their workers and squeezing their clients and trying to extract as much cash and money from their clients as possible. So that's not a good context to provide health care. And so I already know that a lot of hedge funds and finance corporations are buying up hospitals, buying up healthcare facilities, buying up large-scale conglomerates of healthcare providers, and then squeezing those profits out of them. So the doctors are miserable, the patients get terrible care, the hedge fund itself extracts more and more profits in order to buy more and more facilities to create more of a monopoly and a hegemony and create more profit for its investors. So this is bad news for everyone who is not an investor. California lawmakers were poised to vote on regulating private equity investments in healthcare, but the lobbyists came after them. So California ended up writing in an exemption. Big California healthcare businesses win exemptions from proposed hedge fund rules. So this took the teeth out of the California proposal to regulate hedge funds because they made a healthcare business exception. We've seen hedge funds buy up things like assisted living facilities, nursing homes, and that was one of the issues that came about during COVID when we saw a lot of deaths. We also saw that a lot of these nursing homes and these assisted living centers were owned by equity firms and had been cutting corners on staffing and resources for their clients. The physicians are the ones who are interfacing with the clients. They see the cutbacks and how that's affecting their client base, the resources in their office. They know if they're short-staffed, and they also just know that they're being disrespected within their profession and that they're being squeezed in ways that which medical doctors aren't used to being treated. So now even medical doctors are being treated like everyone else. Overall, as a sociologist, what is increasing our inequalities right now is this whole industry of financialization, finance. And what they're doing is they're financializing the things we need, we the people need in our daily lives, medical care, food, all of our resources. And so the hedge funds and what financialization does is creates this speculative investment product on our daily necessities and even our health care. We already have a for-profit healthcare system in the United States, which is a really terrible thing if you're a customer of that system. And of course, lots of Americans don't have adequate healthcare coverage at all. And now you're seeing medical establishments being bought up by hedge funds whose only objective is to extract profit for investors. So that is bad news for us as customers, and bad news, our bodies are on the line and our health is on the line. A lot of these articles about Aspen Dental quoted the workers saying that they would never get treatment at those centers, that they would never trust those those oral surgeons to cut them open, the anesthesiologists. I mean, that was the situation in which someone died, is the anesthesia. And so for me, I'm thinking, I'm having a wisdom tooth removed. I've already had them remove 2 of my wisdom teeth previously. And so just thinking that their own workers would never submit to this process makes me wonder, what I should do. And so now that I know better and I looked into it, I mean, I just have to spend time in the future finding a real dentist to go to who's operated, one dentist owning the facility, and that it's not a chain and not a part of a hedge fund, and that we can have more of a human interaction around healthcare needs. So is your dentist owned by a hedge fund? And if so, how can you tell, and what are your experiences with the healthcare industry in general or with dentists in particular?